Closed it.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. A very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the workshop for the ABCs of Immigration Practice. And today, as a guest speaker, we have, of course, Mr. Naresh M. Gehi, who is the also the founder of MYLS, as well as a very experienced attorney who comes with a background of handling very complex clients and cases. Our second guest speaker for today is Ms. Shima Chaudhary. She comes with total experience of 17 years and she is a managing attorney. The third guest speaker today we have with us is Ms. Bandhura, and she is a firm specialist with My Legal Software. So today in the workshop, Mr. Gay, we're going to talk more about how it can be beneficial for a new lawyer, like the software itself from the technical part, as well as we're going to talk about how a seasoned lawyer can grow their practice. A new lawyer can you basically grow their practice, and even the students who are watching us will be beneficial to know how they can basically get into immigration law and what are the important things to learn.
All right.
Yes.
Firstly, fantastic being with you, Anjali, on the show. And you know me, that I like to just go straight to the meat of everything. So let's basically begin with this is going to be a very important discussion. And I would request everyone to stay very focused because we have some excellent people on the panel today. Shima is highly experienced and she has appeared at many, many, many hundreds of, I would say, immigration interviews. Am I correct on that, Shima?
Yes, Mr.
Good.
Gay.
All right. And we have Bandura, who's amazing in forms. So we have a very powerful team here today. Bandura is superb when it comes to immigration forms, and she can even tell you where people go wrong and what are the most common things. So what are we going to learn today? We are going to learn the art of being a perfectionist. Doesn't matter if you're a new lawyer, if you're a seasoned attorney, or if you're somewhere in between them, which I would say a mid-level attorney. So we all are going to learn something or the other today, and we're also going to take you to a particular session, and that's going to be slightly advanced, and that's where Shima and I will come in. So we're going to start with the basics for people who are new, then we get to the middle level, then we go to the advanced level. That's how the session is going to work. So let's start the session with Form Shima. I'm going to begin with the marriage-based immigration, and in between, I'm going to talk about the issues that arise in marriage-based immigration cases. Now, this is going to be a very, very detailed session. So number one is that what I've seen is that even mid-level officers are generally scared. Means, they're not very comfortable speaking up before an immigration officer. So the first thing is I would say, get that fear out of your mind. So I'm going to take a very simple example, and even lawyers who've been to immigration interviews, if they're new to immigration, or even seasoned lawyers might have observed this. So you went for your client for a 245 interview, commonly referred to as an adjustment of status interview, and the officer is asking your client to sit in the front and you're going to sit at the back. Generally, you can be polite and you can let the officer know that I would prefer sitting next to my client. This is my client's request, and my client is not comfortable. So, folks, what are you learning here? You're giving a polite message to the officer, but at the same time, you're not budging. Plus, you're making sure that your client's rights are protected. Now, what will happen is the officer is he's going to think, because he's going to think that you are being polite, but at the same time, you're standing up for your client's rights. But some officers may kind of backfire. They may tell you, hey, I'm not going to allow that. What should you do in this instance? You can cite the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution. And secondly, there's a leading case law on the point. This is a case law that came out during the special registration process. I think it is the case law of Catholic Charities that made it clear that you are allowed to zealously represent the best interest of a client, and an attorney is allowed to actively participate in an administrative proceeding. Immigration proceedings are administrative in nature. So the bottom line is, do not budge, do not be scared when you go for an adjustment interview. Most lawyers have this habit of remaining silent. And sometimes some of the questions that gets asked at the adjustment interview, they're not even kind of relevant. For example, I remember of an officer asking a client, why did your client work without authorization? I said, I respectfully state that even if he did, there's an automatic waiver under 245 because my client falls under the immediate relative category and here to survive. So basically, a good lawyer knows the law. And where do the mistakes begin from? When you're basically training your paralegal, if you're a senior attorney, it all starts with the forms. Because some officers have a tendency of picking a needle from a haystack and denying cases. So, what are the forms that are needed? Number one, when you're applying for a first adjustment case, be very careful. If you're a seasoned lawyer, always look at your data again, because sometimes, as you rightly know, if you know about the recent decision in Patel versus McGowan, that was so sad to see that about this person who actually, in this case, committed a mistake on his driver's license or something of that sort. And he said he was a US citizen somewhere. And in that case, I mean, he had to face consequences. He had to face the music, and the matter went all the way to federal court. But at the end of the day, because federal courts are giving a lot of discretion to immigration, even if there is rampant abuse by the immigration officer, as an attorney, you may become liable. So please be very careful when you encounter those forms. Don't take the forms lightly. Let's begin with the forms. So what are you going to learn today? And I know even mid-level lawyers will be shocked, because what they do is they fill up the forms without knowing the actual purpose of the form. I mean, everyone learns, and there are things which I learned over a period of time too. So very often, what happens, Shima, as you know, people get confused between the purpose of the forms. And what happens, Shima, sometimes, and Bandura will agree with me, they'll think that, okay, when my client is getting married, I'm applying for all the forms, they all apply together. Wrong. Every immigration form, write this down, folks, has an independent meaning. Every immigration form has an independent meaning. So which means, let's start with the basics. And this is where, our lawyers come in over here. I mean, I would say, lawyers who are watching the show come in over here. I-130 form. Your paralegal in your office or a new lawyer thinks that once if the I-130 is done, the client is going to get the green card. The answer is no. Read 8 CFR. Start reading with 8 CFR and basically also look at section 201 of the INA. That will tell you what exactly is involved in the immigration process when you are sponsoring a family member. I-130, what is the definition of an I-130 petition? Know that. And right now, your paralegal who's looking at it, 1 out of 10 will know, oh yes, I know what it is. But 9 out of 10, what I'll tell you, I know I use it when I'm going to sponsor for someone. Know the purpose of the form. Even if it is any immigration form, folks, even if it's an EOIR 42B, what does it serve? And this can be found under section 101 of the INA. Definitions under 101 of the INA are very important for paralegals and for lawyers. So before I even touch the form, I go and I look at the definitions. Now I'm on the form. What does an I-130 mean? I looked at the definition under family-based immigration. It means a relative petition. Means what you're doing in an I-130, you're just trying to prove a relationship. That's all you're doing. So does an approval of an I-130 form means that your client is going to get the green card? The answer is absolutely no. That means nothing except for proving your relationship with the petitioner. Write it down so that you will be a good immigration lawyer. Wrote that down. You're done with that now. And sometimes you may encounter Stokes interview. Oh my God. That can be harrowing. If you're a mid-level lawyer, be a little careful. Don't take the strokes very lightly, because at times I've also seen Homeland Security officers coming into the room and putting pressure on the client to say that I don't believe this marriage is a genuine marriage. Now you'll be surprised. Mid-level lawyers throw the towel. Good lawyers do not throw the towel that easily. Good lawyers do not throw the towel that easily. First, the thing is that they tell everyone to calm down. And if there is sufficient evidence, even if the testimony is not perfect, the burden of proof is on the immigration officer to show it's a fraudulent marriage. And a lot of lawyers forget that. Don't blindly agree if you have officers around you. Go by the book of law. Respect the officer. But the law is the law. And another thing that needs to be done in such cases, you also have the right to tell the officer that you want to withdraw the application. You also have the right to tell your client not to say any further words. And he can also say that the interview has been terminated. What you did an outstanding job by protecting your client, because sometimes the marriage may be perfect, but people go to the interview and they freak out. They freeze. They're not comfortable. But that does not mean it's a fraudulent marriage. So a good lawyer is a good trial lawyer. He reads the law. He knows the rules of evidence. He knows the law. And that's what even immigration entails. So be a good lawyer. So now we spoke about the I-130. Now you have your first marriage-based case. You're starting up your case, or now you're concerned now about basically what forms you're going to file. So after that, our expert, Bandura, I call her my expert, I would say, more than anyone else. That's my personal this to her. She's, that's what it is. The forms person will be showing you of what forms are needed and how those forms are filled as an art. Now look at this question. Have you worked illegally in the United States? Say yes if you have. No harm, right? Don't say no. Why you don't say no, Shima? Can you tell me that?
Because then that could be used against you for
Yes.
misrepresenting a fact to a government officer, USCIS officer. It will be held against you.
And then what we'll have to do, apply for a fraud waiver if possible. Why do you want to get into those, kind of in those waters? And sometimes clients will also lie to you. They'll tell you it never worked. Don't believe them. Ask them questions. How did you survive for 17 years in this country without working? That's your job as a lawyer. Yeah. Be careful, be safe, because when he goes to the interview and he says he worked and you put in something wrong, you're getting into troubled waters right here. So make sure that you take everything in writing from your client. Protect yourself. That is critically important over here. With the I-130, you need the form I-130A. Then you need the 864. You need the I-131. Then you need the G28. And if a client wants to travel, you need the I-131 and the 765 if he needs a work permit. So these are the forms. And now, in order, since we promised you that this will be a practical demonstration, Bandura will be kind enough to basically display the forms. And she's going to go through everything quickly to see. And thanks to my legal software, which people are using a lot. And Anjali can say a few words about the forms, and then Bandura can get into the forms a bit.
So, Mr. Gay, while we were talking about the basic structure of which form to fill and where to start and all of that, that reminded me that a lot of our clients actually went through the entire portal, and they were very happy with the feature of custom group forms wherein they can form groups of different category of cases, and it was very convenient and easy for them to actually kind of understand, especially for the new lawyers, I would say, and for their entire team, whoever is people who are growing their team. So they were really happy with that feature, that all of the forms, for example, adjustment of status form, and all of that.
So why don't we display your MILS forms so people can see your forms, and Bandura can start teaching the class.
Yeah.
And also you can have a demo link for you if you want to, people want to see that. But let's start the class again. And Bandura, if I think if Anjali permits from my legal software to show the
Yes.
forms, then we can go through the entire forms,
Yes,
and we are
yes,
going
yes.
to pick the mistakes which are committed. And Shima, Yumi, and all three of will have a practical workshop where the
Yeah.
mistakes are bound to happen. That's what we're going to talk about from the forms. Please start
Yes.
your MLS forms, demo.
Yes.
So Anjali, if you may allow, I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, please.
So yeah, as Mr. Gehi rightly said that, forms can be
Also, all these names are fictitious, and these are just, meant for educational purposes. And, we want to make it clear, these are just names which we have taken. So it's not a real client. So don't worry about it. These are just for your learning sake. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, when, as Mr. Gehi rightly said, everybody, mid-level lawyers can get confused regarding what forms are required for what group. For application of for AOS forms. So MYLS is very easy to use, Anjali, and thanks to the whole MYLS team, because if we can preset a group of forms like this. So if I select AOS,
Now
even
look at
without
this, folks. If you're a new lawyer, if you're a lawyer, it's already giving you everything. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to basically look for the forms. It's already here. And what you do is just basically start filling the forms and fill the data in.
Exactly.
It's already pre-selecting the forms for you if you want to practice immigration here.
Yes, and you just have to select the participant here. You can select your beneficiary, participant, applicant, or whoever is filling up the form. You can just select the applicant and you can save it. So all the forms, whatever are required, will be added to the form, and it will be very easy for us, easy and convenient for the lawyers to fill up the forms for the client.
Okay, now let me get on the law on this point. Okay, folks, as she's going to give a practical demo, Shima and I will talk about the forms. So now, after she started the form, now my client is sitting in front of me, Leah, and I tell Leah, listen, Leah, are you married? She says, I'm not married. All right. So the I-130 in the case becomes useless to me right away. But the first requirement is check with Leah whether she is married in a religious ceremony or whether she has a civil marriage. Very, very important. And you'll see lawyers committing that mistake too. Because luckily under New York law, if you have a religious marriage, it is recognized, and many lawyers throw the towel in that. Make a note of these pointers, folks. Look at, even if your client had a religious marriage, you may be able to still win your case. Shima, not many lawyers have fought those cases. I've fought cases, I've won them. Because once the immigration officer denied the case on grounds that my client's marriage was a religious marriage, it was not registered. I said that under New York law, a religious marriage is recognized because state law controls in marriage cases under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. It falls on the 11th Amendment. It's the power of the states, Shima. Is it the 10th or the 11th?
It's
The power of the states.
I believe it's the 10th.
Is the 10th Amendment.
Yes.
So you should know the 10th Amendment. Look at how immigration also basically can be, linked with constitutional law. And you cite that even if a client did not have it. Now you apply for a battered spouse. Look at this. How many of you know that the religious marriage is good enough for you to even apply as a battered spouse? Not many people, correct? So this is what you get at MYLS sessions. You all will learn the law. At the same time, I'll show you the forms. So now the client comes in, has a religious marriage. I would look into the state, then I would go into the form I-130, as Bandura said. And luckily in MYLS, I don't have to worry too much. And see, look at the statements here. She's going to select the word spouse. Yes, and all this data will be populated on the form. Correct. So, but Bandura, move on soon, so I can start teaching people. Alien number is not there. The USCIS has account number. Done with all that. All right.
I'd like to add here, Mr. Gehi, that if you saw that when Bandura clicked on save and next, it did not move to the next step unless and until we actually fill on the mandatory steps. Because
see, this is one good thing I like about it, because what some paralegals do, and if I'm an attorney, they, either because they are new or they have too much work on their desk, they skip the data. Yeah. This particular form doesn't allow you to skip the data, and it also pinpoints what mistakes you're committing. Exactly. And plus, needless to say, now the data is going to go on the next page. So yes. Now let me talk about an important form. I'm going to talk, Yeah, so you can continue doing it, but please, you can continue showing so these users can see it. And let me discuss the law so people can learn the law here. So now I filled the I-130. I spoke to my client. She said she has a marriage certificate or she has proof that it's a religious marriage. So I-130 is done. Then the same thing with the I-130A is also needed. So you don't only need the I-130, you need the I-130A. So Shima, what's the purpose of the I-130A?
It's more if it's a spousal relationship, provides more information on the spouse.
That's very important. So immigration in the past, for people who are new, they should know that there was no I-130A form. So now immigration is getting very particular. They want to know more about your spouse. They want to know the number of marriages, the number of divorces she had, how many children she's had from her previous marriages, how many children you had from your previous marriages, who are your other family members. They made it very detailed. Now, then after that, I'm looking at this form here. The next form that comes over here in front of me is that after the data has gone, look at, she's right on the I-130A. Excellent job by Bandura to make sure that it's getting done right there. Form filling can be done by you guys. You can take a demo from Anjali. Anjali, you can put that in your box of how to schedule a demo, whatever you want, you may do that.
It's already on the comment sections. If anybody is interested to have a one-on-one meeting, the calendar
They can
link
have
is
that. So let's go on the law now. All right. So the next important form, which I look at very carefully if I'm a lawyer, believe it or not, for me, one of the most important forms, which is taken very lightly, Shima, is the form I-485. Do you agree or disagree?
Of course, I agree.
Two forms that I never take a chance with, even if I have the best paralegal generally, is the I-130 and the 485. Legitimacy of the relationship, bona fide marriage, in a marriage-based case is the form I-130. And people think, they hate to say this, some of our clients go to the consultants, they mess them up, they come to us. I tell them that be very careful when you're filling the form I-130. 485 is more important than any other form, for me, because most of the denials come from the 485. Shima, you've done this for 17 years. Would you agree or disagree on that?
I agree.
All right. Why do the denials come, and can you talk about it a little bit? So then I'll add my comments to it.
I've seen denials because
Crime,
security questions, the
criminal record,
I've seen them not indicate
fraud.
Yes, that's a big one. Also ever denied admission to the US, that's a big one.
Entry issues. So now, folks, what are you going to learn now is very, very important. So write down notes if you're a new lawyer, if you're a mid-level lawyer, and how do you counter these questions with the immigration officer also. I'm going to tell you 5 key areas which are very important in an adjustment of status form. Of course, like I cannot go through every single question, but this is more like a summary of what I look at, and everyone has the right to look at more questions. But these are the 5 common pointers, from the list of the hundreds of questions I've seen. But the good news is we also have a very experienced lawyer, Shima, here. She'll add on also and let me know whether I missed something. So that's why we have a panel today. So this is a fantastic session for people to learn. And thank you, Anjali, for putting this together and, recommending us that you need more people today. So now when I have a 485, the first thing which I see is whether the petitioner in this case is a US citizen or a green card holder. Number one. Secondly, when we applied for the petition, at the time, was the beneficiary in legal status or was he out of status? That's number 2. Number 3, I look at how did the beneficiary enter into the country? Top 3 questions. Then later on, part B is something else. Now, why is that important? Take an example. You are applying for a green card for someone and your client is a green card holder. The petitioner is the green card holder. She comes to your office, and one mistake which lawyers do. Are you all ready for this, folks? Even mid-level lawyers commit this mistake. I know of a lawyer, what he did. He had a client who was a green card holder. He came in and Then he spoke to this particular lady, and she came on a visit visa and she was out of status. So the lawyer looked up the priority date. He said, it is current. Fantastic. You're a green card holder. Priority date is current. He applied for the 485. Messed up the case, Shima. Why? Can you tell me?
Because the priority date is not current.
No, priority date is current. Thank you for that.
So,
But the client is out of status. Why? Why can't they adjust? Good question. See, everybody has a roadblock. Because under 245, the person is not an immediate relative.
oh yes.
So look at this, folks. The importance of having legal guidance when you're doing a legal work is important. And MYLS provides you with that guidance so that it stops you. We cannot be superhumans, but we try our best to address those questions to lawyers. And that's why MYLS is getting busy with lawyers when they get stuck with these issues. We've been helping them. You cannot. So in this case, what do? You have two options now. I looked at the 485 before filing. I looked at the I-130. Now I'm saying, what can I do? Folks, you have two choices. Number one, attorney, what you need to do is wait until your petitioner becomes a US citizen, because that confers immediate relative status under Section 245A of the INA, and your client can adjust. The second thing you can do, if unfortunately, if the petitioner is incapable of becoming a citizen, especially because he's having problems with English, then you can look into the 601A. So folks, do not take these forms lightly. And with MYLS, there are some pointers which are provided when people contact us. You'll avoid a wrong strategy if you ever have that doubt in your mind by contacting one of our people out there who'll help you a little bit here and there, because those things go a long way. Now, suppose if you applied without having that little help from someone else, you committed malpractice. Why? Shima, why malpractice? Because the lawyer is expected to know the basics of the law.
It does that. I mean, you should know that.
You'll have to return the fee to the client because you
Mhm.
messed up his entire immigration fee.
Right.
And once you get the denial, the officer is clearly telling you that you committed a mistake here.
Yet I see many attorneys do that.
Many. And
Yeah.
that's why people are coming to MYLS when they're getting stuck. They're getting in touch with Anjali. Some of them are talking to them. She's helping people here and there as much as possible. And end of the day, this is very important for people to make sure that you don't have to come to us, but do the right thing in the profession. I've been helping lawyers on the phone. That's what I'm trying to say here. Another important thing which I've seen is when you are applying for advance parole, be very careful. That's the next form is the I-131. Can you show that from your MYLS screen?
Sure.
Now, can someone tell me, Shima, you have so much experience. You see, that's why I like my session to be even seasoned lawyers should be present. When I should not be applying for advance parole for a client, Shima, tell me.
When the client is in removal proceedings.
And see,
And removal proceedings, and if they have
Shima is a brilliant lawyer, but see, we all, even Naresh Ye gets into these situations. That's why you need that extra layer. Yeah, go ahead.
and if you're applying for asylum.
No, and another thing that we know. Okay, one other thing, pick.
Removal
Even
proceedings, asylee, and I don't know.
One important thing which lawyers forget on this. Thank you so much, Shima. You've done very well on this.
Okay.
Commend you for your answers. But there is one mistake which lawyers commit. You're going to fill the I-131 form. What is the first thing that comes to the lawyers when, oh, it's advance parole, he can get it, he entered with a visa. Well and good that he's going to get it. He can get a one-way ticket and he may not return back. First important thing in advance parole is make sure never allow your client to travel until the advance parole is approved. Rule number one. And Bandura is looking at me like as though I come from a different planet. You cannot allow them to leave until it is approved, Bandura. So wait until the I-131 is approved, because in the past they would allow you, but now if the person is over there and if the person had accrued unlawful presence, then what is the law relating to that, Shima? What's the next step that happens?
Basically,
Becomes the ground of inadmissibility under section 212A9B3 of the INA.
Yes.
Thank you, folks, for learning today. Thank you, everybody who's listening. Yes, you all will learn, and everyone might be coming with this mindset that I'm going to learn nothing. No, everyone will learn something, because I talk about things which you may not find anywhere else. Another reason, Shima, which I've seen, even experienced lawyers, human mistakes happen, is when the client had a crime involving good moral character. Be very careful. The man had a problem of grand larceny or petite larceny, not in grand larceny. And in that state, that was a crime involving good moral character. You applied for his advance parole. When he came back, CBB told him, welcome, go before the immigration judge. Yeah. Because you have committed a crime involving good moral character, let the judge now go there and apply for a waiver. Other the judge is going to tell you, I'm sorry, what your crime was so bad that I cannot help you. Be careful, folks. See how I look at the forms. And what happens with most paralegals and lawyers? Oh, it's just a form. Don't do that, folks. Good lawyers know the law. They're walking books. I do a lot of federal cases too. I love, basically, handling federal cases. But one thing which I've learned in federal court, and I need to thank these awesome judges, wonderful judges, they expect me to know the law very well. And I respect them. And that's how I learned. And most of them are very kind. They would just give me a hand a little bit. But they'll tell me, when you are in federal court, you have to be a perfectionist. And I cannot thank them enough, because they taught me the right way of how to practice law. So my good wishes are with each one of you that you all become federal lawyers, because there's a big need of federal lawyers in this country. And because, the amount of litigation that's going on, I would say that it'll be great if I can see a lot more federal lawyers. And of course, the surprise is Anjali will also be teaching people how to become federal lawyers. How's that?
Under guidance of many more attorneys like you and Shima.
Right. So Shima will also talk about that in future. Now let's go to some of your other forms. Anjali. All right, so the other good thing what I like about my legal software is once you have put the data in one of the forms, I think it populates on all of them. I don't have to worry about it. And there's another good thing I like about the software is once the forms are completed, once you've sent it to the client, your client cannot print them out and basically pull a fast one on you, because there's a watermark that comes up. So he cannot just take your intellectual property and tell you, bye-bye, miss, good night, I will not come back anymore. He won't be able to do much with it. So they will have to come back to you.
So these granularities are one of the basic, I would say, these are the reasons because we came up with the software with so much of experience and feedback from attorneys as well as paralegals. Because every step of the way we have realized what all bottlenecks the lawyers.
Yeah, so in this, even Shima had given some fabulous feedback when the software was being developed. Bandura did a lot of feedback. I did tons of feedbacks were given from my end on the forms itself on my legal software. This is the difference about my legal software. Feedback from lawyers was taken. So the other form that I look at very carefully over here is the form I-864 after that. I want to make sure, Shima, what is the most important thing that you can think about in an 864? Tell me.
Basically, whether or not they qualify as a sponsor, if they meet the minimum.
We all know that.
Income requirement.
Sorry, I'm cracking jokes today, as you know. We all know that, Shima.
Okay.
Even the lawyer who's looking at the screen knows that.
I think another
Mid-level lawyers know that. Even top lawyers may miss one or two things, and I'm going to talk about that. Tell me.
Okay, so another thing I look at when I'm preparing the I-864 is the status of the sponsor.
Okay, has to be a US citizen or a green card holder. I understand
Yes,
that.
that's also
Because that's under section 213A of the INA. That spells it out clearly. But what is it that lawyers actually miss in an affidavit of support? Folks, some of the pointers which I'm giving are for highly experienced lawyers here today.
I think they miss whether or not the family members, how many family members. Sometimes I see errors in that.
Okay, that's a basic form, that you missed 443, whatever it is. You got the income correct. You went through the data, 35,000 income, 2 people living, you're good to go. That's something I know. That's like exactly most lawyers would know. So I'm going to give you the mini pointer, then I'm going to give the major pointer here. Mini is the easy one, which some of will know, but the major point I'm going to come to that later. Firstly, when you're filling the form I-864, you have to remember 2 very important things. And this is where the mistake gets committed, and some immigration officers deny the case right there. Look at the importance of 864A first, a form that is forgotten the most in immigration, because of the person who's your joint sponsor, who's living with you in the same house. By mistake, if you're going to file the 864, the officer can deny that at the interview, because you needed an 864A because the joint sponsor is living in the same household. Look at how technical immigration can be. Even seasoned lawyers commit that mistake. Paralegals do it. I don't blame them, but I've seen many lawyers committing that mistake. But if the person is living somewhere else, use the 864. Another important thing is, since we use the GP Speed, which is a product of My Legal Software, we also do matrimonial law. And, because we use the GP Speed version, which is good for immigration lawyers, as well as for other lawyers. Because what I like is there are 2 products that are here from My Legal Software. One is GP Speed, which is meant for all general practice lawyers. Like divorce, matrimonial, we use that. So we also do immigration and divorces and all. So when I'm using it for my divorce and everything, I make sure when there is a divorce to look at the obligation of 7 years. If you are not making that clear to your client that she will be responsible for 7 years to take care of this wonderful beneficiary, then it can bite you in future. Make sure that warning is given explicitly, put it in writing, and let them know that tomorrow if there's a divorce, this issue can come up. And good matrimonial lawyers should use that. I'm sure some of my dear matrimonial lawyers are also learning, because I don't see a lot of matrimonial lawyers bringing this up before the matrimonial court. Let them know, and the judge will tell you, okay, how do we resolve this? I'm not saying that you'll win before the judge, but that's a good negotiating chip to let your adversary attorney know that there are consequences here. And she signed up to support him for 7 years if he becomes a public charge. Even Shima is like thinking, which planet is Naresh Gehi coming from? So end of the day, make sure that you clarify the obligations. Now, half the time the litigation does not come from the petitioner, but she might come from the joint sponsor. Because the joint sponsor was never told that he is responsible for 7 years. How many of our lawyers actually let the joint sponsor know? That can be a malpractice issue. Because tomorrow, if the petitioner and if the joint beneficiary come together, and if they want to come after you, the sky's the limit in this country for people to sue you. So be safe rather than being sorry. When you are looking at every form, people take these immigration forms very lightly. And what happens if we get ever stuck with an issue? Call MILS. We are there to help you, to let you know what you're doing is right or wrong. We all think that we know everything. But folks, the reality is when you hit an obstacle, then you'll really know that exactly this is what exactly where we come in. And at MILS, we provide you that support if needed. God willing, you don't need that support because we are here, as a professional courtesy, we love to help lawyers, not as a part of an obligation from MILS. That's something that people have appreciated a lot and will continue to do that. And you can reach us out. And, if there's anything you want to schedule a demo with Anjali, you can. Anjali, I just need a small break to drink some water so you can do some talking for 2 minutes. And then we are going to go through some other important issues about, the 485 form, the most important factors that people need to know in order to help them to get their clients' green cards approved, and how to answer questions at the interview, and the role of the lawyer at the 485 interview. Anjali, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So like we were talking about MILS, in case if you like the features, if you like what Bandura showed us, then you can always schedule a demo with us. You can visit our website, or you can also just directly click on the link that is provided in the comment section. You can just click on the link, schedule a meeting with me, and we can know your needs better and help you understand that. Mr. Gehi, you were talking about helping each other out. So I wanted to announce here, because this is like one of those least talked about features that we have with My Legal Software, that we provide the supporting staffing solution as well. So in case if you're a growing lawyer, if you're a solo practitioner, and say if you have a case at hand for which you need more people.
So what I'd like to say about that, in our case, we have accountings that we use, receptionists are being used, paralegals are being used, and everything is being used from My Legal Software, and it's been a big benefit for us. And Shima is also very happy that I'm the founder. I want to make it clear, it's an open disclosure that, we have a stake in the company, but at the same time, we do use these services. So we want to be transparent about this, but we are very happy about this, that we've been able to have paralegals, form specialists, bookkeepers who do collections for us, receptionists who are bilingual, and they take the calls, they make the appointments, and they make it on the software itself. All this comes in as a package. And so that's very helpful. And also one of my favorite things which I like about it is GP speed. If you're an immigration lawyer, if you want to grow your practice, if you're a matrimonial lawyer, go for GP speed, straight up. So you're getting immigration, plus you're getting other practice areas included with it. So even if you just want to go for immigration, that's very rare, but I've seen most lawyers going for GP speed because, even if you get any kind of client, you can make some rain here and there, because you never know that if it's a simple form, the pricing is the same, I believe. So I think I would go for GP speed. That's my 2 cents, because it gives me a lot more than actually immigration speed. But immigration speed is great for lawyers who just do immigration all the time. It's also very good for IT companies, basically who in-house counsels who want to file H-1Bs and everything and whatnot, really. So let's get to anything else. I think you have to say a few things. Also, I think, Anjali, why don't you put it in the QA box or something, or highlight how people can sign up with you?
It's already on the comment sections for the, from wherever you're watching us, in the comment section, you can see the link from where you can schedule a meeting with me. You can just schedule a time according to your own availability. Alternatively, you can give me a call at my number 2123909493, and we'll be there to assist you with if you have any legal questions, if you want to know how can I use the software better for growth, because most of the cases, Mr. Gehi, we've heard the feedback that the software actually, the price is actually, it looks like it's free for them because of the savings that we provide, because of the features that we provide, and the kind of organizational structure they have built with My Legal Software has really helped our clients get through. One of our client, a very recent client, so he basically uses it. He's an immigration speed customer. So he basically uses the software for the forms and stuff, and he has seen a growth of 200% in terms of what he was doing in the past months. So
no, because I think I'll tell you why. This is because people save time and money because it's very fast and it's very easy to use. You don't have to spend a lot of time training people. Correct. And it has more features than what other softwares have. For example, you have Zoom integrations, you have Google Meet, then you have mail-in features, mail-out features, you have audits. What I like the most is audits, because Shima, what I love about the software is basically the removal calendar, which means the deportation calendar, master calendar hearing is included. And other than that, you have the individual hearing included. You have alerts, basically, of the citizenship reminders included in that. Then you have the mail-in features, the mail-out features, the text messaging feature, the internal announcement wherein people know I went before this judge. This judge is expecting more documents when you're going before him. Internal chat. Those things, bring it it's like a full circle. And thanks to your feedback, Shima, and the development of the software, because you go to court all the time.
Yes.
See, this is the difference. People like Shima, who has 17 years under her belt, she gave her feedback in the development of my legal software. So this is the difference, folks. You are seeing real life people who've given feedbacks out here. Right or wrong, Shima, how many feedbacks did you give the team?
I remember I gave like 10 feedbacks.
See, look at that.
Yeah.
And Bandura, how many feedbacks have you given in the development of this?
Many, Mr. Kehi, because about the form expiry, for how to fill up the forms without mistakes, and many. And from Shima also, as Shima said, she gave us everyday feedbacks every day to improve the software and improve forms and, client management and everything.
Good. So that's important. Now let's get back to, because, I believe in just teaching and more than actually kind of doing this. Now, let me get back to the crux of the matter here. Now, when I'm filling the 485 form, there are 4 or 5 things which I look at very carefully. When your client is an asylee, and when you are filling the 485, write this down, folks. Make sure you mention his membership in that group. The officers have started denying those cases because they're saying that what you told the judge does not match with what you're writing in your 485 application. Ground for denial. If you are even filing for adjustment of status through your spouse, don't take that particular line very lightly. Are you a member of anything? Tell them that you're a member of a Rotary Club. It's not going to hurt you. But you clarify it. But don't have that in your mind that I'm going to skip the question and write the word no. When you look at membership in any group, make sure you can write anything. Can be a Rotary Club, can be, any other club, I would say. It can be a lesbian group, it can be a gay group, it can be an engineers association. Make note of it. The officer will not be happy, but you did your job. See, that is being a particular lawyer. He may say that that engineers group was linked with a terrorist organization. It's very rare, he'll tell you that, but he will admire the fact that you're so particular. Good officers will. But now let's turn the table. Your client applied for asylum and he withdrew his asylum application. Now he's filing this marriage-based immigration case. In the asylum he wrote, he was a member of ABC organization. And now based upon the marriage, when you're applying, you forgot that. Again, the officer can come and tell you you're trying to commit a fraud. Because he reviewed your asylum application. So he's trying to say that, did you tell something wrong when you filed the asylum application? Did you lie over there? Or why the hell did you forget? Some officers are very conservative and they may deny a case. So don't take that line very lightly. So another thing, have you committed any fraud? Go back to look at the client's entry issue there. Go back to look at the different names he has ever used in entering into the United States. But even if your client has committed a fraud which is unrelated, you should bring that up. And where does that happen? Can someone tell me, Shima?
Fraud unrelated, you mean?
Unrelated fraud to immigration. Give me examples.
You could have done Social Security fraud. So I've seen
Good.
that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So a driver's license is a very common thing when people use up too. You should mention that. But also at the same time, you have to let immigration know that that's an unrelated issue. Don't be scared, but that they cannot be denied. Why will the officer not deny that? Because he loves the client. That's why, or is there law, Shima, involved in that?
Because there's a law involving that. Yes.
What's the law?
So basically, it's just saying, if you look at the I-485, it's just saying to obtain an immigration benefit.
Thank you.
With a fraud.
So look at that. read the line on the 485 that says whether it was meant with an intent to accrue an immigration benefit. Getting a driver license is not related to an immigration benefit. Cite the law and the officer will be impressed with you. So this is another pointer, another mistake done by lawyers. My God, it's sad. It's not in the lawyer's fault. New lawyers do that. Has your client ever been arrested or has been detained by a police officer or by a law enforcement officer? Somebody got a subway ticket. That's a law enforcement officer, folks. Don't forget that. Say a yes. So even if your client ticket was dismissed, you need to ask him the right questions. If you ask him the right questions, you will not go wrong, even if the case was dismissed. And if you said no, good luck, your client's case is going to be denied because of good moral character. Commonly referred to as basically, that you don't have good moral character / or basically that you lied to get an immigration benefit. The exact word is lied to get an immigration benefit, to be more precise with. Good moral characters and citizenships, but generally over here, they look at lied to get an immigration benefit, and also good moral characters defined under section 101 of the INA. So everyone today who was here should read section 101A. And they need to master the definitions if you want to become a good immigration lawyer. Of course, our series are going to go on for a long time. Anjali, I'm going to ask Shima some questions. Since you use MYLS, which are the top features you like about MYLS as an attorney? And how does that help you in court?
So I think the feature I use the most is the case notes. Say I'm preparing for a case, a master hearing is coming.
For an asylum case, take an example. You're working
like an
on
asylum case, I'm looking through the case notes, making sure what's going on, if the client's been prepped, what documents have been submitted to the court, and then I quickly look at uploaded files. Did we submit the call up on time? Did we, what does this affidavit that the judge is referring to look like? I immediately can pull that up. That's very helpful.
How about the master calendar and the individual calendar? Because you go to court every day. About the calendar, can you talk about that?
Yeah, the calendar on the legal software is excellent. Say you're in a master and the judge gives you an individual date. You immediately go to the case, you go into the calendar and you put in the date so you don't forget the date and you get reminders.
Look at this, folks.
Yeah.
All these are fictitious names, just to let you know for clarification. None of them are actual names here. All right. Another thing, Ashima, is how do you conduct your audits and how do audits help you in the software?
So for example, like if I want to check out what mail we've received, a lot of times that's what I look for because I have clients calling me, asking me, oh, did you get this? Did you get my approval? I heard I got approved. So I go to the audit feature, I go to mail, I use that a lot. I go to incoming and go to the specific branch if you have multiple branches in your office, and then everything is listed, and then there's a link. You can open up the mail and see exactly what has been uploaded and received.
And also about the money, about the collection part of it, or do you believe in just skipping that? How does that help you, the accounting?
No, that's very helpful. Like you go to a case and there's an accounting feature. Like how much, if you're confused, how much has this client paid already? How much is his balance? You click onto the accounting feature and you're able to tell.
Good. And how about, do you use the hourly billing feature, especially when the client is telling you that I'm going to go to another lawyer? How do you do the billing and use the hourly billing feature here?
Yes. So normally immigration is flat fee, but it's important to use the hourly billing feature.
Because tomorrow there's a dispute about the fee, especially.
Right. Tomorrow there's a client and he doesn't want to do the case anymore, or he found another attorney and then he wants an account of what was done. Then that's very helpful to the hourly billing feature.
All right. And the templates also help you a lot because sometimes you're doing a lot of asylums, and how does that help you?
Oh, that definitely helps. Like I go to the templates, and if I want to, for example, it says 290B appeal. I'm doing a 290B appeal for a case that was just opened, and I'm just going to go and see how was it done before. Like we don't reinvent the wheel,
Mhm. Right. So, folks, let's get back to some more work now. And most importantly, when you're doing the 485, we give you a full workshop and how you're going to handle your first marriage-based immigration case, right from basic to advanced issues. And we are also going to talk about how you're going to handle in the future sessions, wherein your client was charged with and pled guilty to an aggravated felony. Most lawyers are going to say, no, there is no way out to file a 485. We're going to talk about post-conviction relief. We'll tell you how to do that, how to basically get that drop to a lesser charge and apply for their green cards. We've done those things also, folks. Advanced issues will also come, but the next part of it is going to be very important. We are going to talk about basic citizenship to advanced. By the way, basic, please don't consider this to be basic because Gay doesn't like to only talk about basics. We are always going to add some element to it to make it a little complicated so everyone enjoys our sessions. False claims to US citizenship is going to be added. Yes, people are getting a hint that it's not what you're thinking, that simple citizenship. Yes, for newcomers, we are going to talk about false claims to US citizenship and our citizenship matter. Then we are going to talk about federal court litigation and US citizenship. So this is going to be a part 1, 2, and 3 series with Shima and me. And the part 1 will be devoted, to people who are new and paralegals and new lawyers. For them, then slowly we'll go to the intermediate. Watch out for good moral character and the officer denying your case. Watch out for tips whether the client abandoned his stay in the United States by overstaying for more than 6 months. How do you fight those cases out? Very important. And if your client still wants to become a citizen, you can even take those issues to federal court. We're going to talk about one of the most kind of denied areas of immigration law, which is very unfortunate, is the disability waivers. We'll tell you how to fight it. You should even take it to federal court. Trust me, you'll wind up being a winner because immigration is taking a very conservative stand even in the best cases. So we basically make sure that we fight them. That's our job. And the good thing about citizenship is that the law is still very much, in the lawyer's favor to fight it out because the judge has jurisdiction de novo. The federal court judge has a de novo jurisdiction. So in a sense, you're far more secured in the citizenship application before the federal court than in any other application in today's times. So that's going to be very, very important for people who want to learn to become excellent citizenship lawyers. Even if you're an attorney who's been in practice for 5 or 7 years, you'll learn. A seasoned attorney, you'll learn about federal practice from us. So that's going to be a 2 or 3 part with me and Shima. And of course, Bandura, you did a fabulous job. So next time, please display your skills with the N400 form and everything and whatnot as usual. And I think Anjali has a few comments to make because our time is running short. The last 2 minutes are for you. Folks, if you're interested, schedule a demo with Anjali. And there's no cost or obligation. There is something, she also has a free thing that she does. Why don't you talk about it, about both your softwares? And then after that, I'll make the goodbye comment. And I want to talk about a little bit about citizenships before we leave.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi. So yes, for the people who would want to take a short demo with us, or if you want to speak, have a one-on-one meeting with me, then you can give us a call at 212-390-9493. Alternatively, you can go to the website and schedule a meeting from the demo link provided, wherein you can schedule a time as per your convenience. And we'll be there to address your any issues that you have. Also, we provide free trials to people. If you sign up for this particular month, then you get 14 days of free trial. And that link is also there on the website, so you can visit it from there. You can also check out our previous webinars on all of our social channels. And those are also very knowledgeable sessions. For example, we had a previous session with Shima and Mr. Gehi about the SIDG, which was really liked and appreciated by the viewers. So if you want to check out
a lot of senior lawyers also like the seminar very much, I believe.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Gehi,
one thing,
for-
they can also
Yeah.
go to the link right now. Where do they go for the link right now? You said it's
It's in
somewhere
the
over here.
comment section. It's pinned in the comment section. So if the calendar link is there, if you want to directly schedule a meeting with us, you can do it right away as per your convenience.
So folks, next on the 8th of December,
8th
very
December.
important session coming up. Basics of citizenship. It's not going to be as basic as you think. So please don't think that, oh, I know it all, I'm going to do this. Welcome to the club. Make sure that when you file your citizenship application, make sure that you cross all the I's and the T's and the officer respects you. And I'm also going to tell you something. I'm going to share one small secret before we go. We're going to tell you about the importance of putting a memo together with your citizenship application, which a lot of lawyers don't do. And that's why cases get denied. Yes, you're allowed to put in a memo, and not many lawyers do that because they think just file the N400 and show up at the interview. And some officers may not even allow you to talk, and they may just deny your application. We'll tell you how to avoid those issues. Thank you, folks, and share this video. Let your friends know if you like this session, like us, schedule your demos with Anjali, and above all, end of the day, mark your date for the following event and be ready. And your question and answers will be greatly appreciated. You can use immigration speed for immigration lawyers, GP speed for all other lawyers. And as she said, receptionist services, etc. Are available if you're looking for staffing requirements. My very special thanks to Ravi, to Priyanjali, to Bandura, to Anjali, to Shima for being here today. And thank you, Anjali. Is there anything else I need to do, or may I leave?
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi, for joining us. We'll see you in the session next week. I hope everybody watching us had a great session. You kept your notes ready. And I hope this will help you in the future when you try to grow your practice or your team. Thank you, Sheba, for joining us. Thank you, Bandura. And thank you, Mr. Gehi, for your time. Thank you, all your viewers.
Bye.
Thank you.